Let's look at creating multiple drawing sheets. DynaSCAPE allows you to create your master plan, dimension plan, lighting plan, irrigation plans, all without having to redraw. So how does it do that? DynaSCAPE uses a unique feature called modes. Modes turn specific layers on or off to show the specific information that you need for the type of drawing sheet that you want to create. For example, for your master plan, we have a design mode which shows all the elements that you need to show to your client in order to make the sale. Dimension mode shows you all the design information that you need to create a staking and layout plan. And lighting mode and irrigation mode are the same, allowing you to show specific information to produce those drawing sheets, and you can switch between them without having to redraw. These modes are also customizable, so you can create your own types of drawing sheets. Throughout most of the drawing process, you'll be working in what's called design mode. Design mode basically shows all the elements that you need for your master plan. Your master plan basically displays everything that you need to show your clients in order to sell your project. However, if you wish to create a layout or staking plan, there's no need to redraw. That's where the other modes come into play. DynaSCAPE's dimension mode basically turns on the layers that need to be displayed to create a layout or staking plan, and turns off those objects that don't need to show up for this particular drawing sheet we're going to use to print out and give to our installers to properly lay out the project. I'm going to then turn on my dimension toolbox, which gives me all my dimensioning tools, and I can begin dimensioning my design. I'm going to show the offset for my swimming pool from the property line, wherever it's the closest to the property line. I'm going to show so that my installers know exactly how close to the property line it's going to go. It's going to help lay out exactly where the pool has to sit. I can also dimension things like the widest parts of my patio, the distance to, for example, something like steps here. I can also dimension the width of steps. I can also dimension radiuses. For example, if I want to know the radius of these steps here, I can dimension those like this. I can dimension radiuses of retaining walls. I can also mark where that center point of my radius is. I can continue showing all my dimensions. I can add specific text about what the materials are so my crews know what they are. This all gets saved as part of the drawing. When I go back to design mode, the rest of my master plan information is still there. If I go back to dimension mode, I basically can see all dimensions that I created, any notations that I might have added, and I can print this out to give to my crews in order to begin the installation of this project. Now if I want to create a lighting plan, all I need to do is choose the lighting mode here. Lighting mode will turn my trees back on because they're an important part of my lighting design for uplighting, but it turns off the dimensions so they're not in the way. It allows me to add my lighting fixtures and wiring diagram to this plan, all without having to redraw. So I'm going to add some fixtures. I'm going to go to my libraries and choose my Nightscape fixtures library, and I can start by adding fixtures to my design. So I'm going to start with some uplights on my trees like this. Zoom back out. I'm going to then add another uplight or two on some of my other trees, focal points. Then I'm going to continue with my path lights. I'm going to drop them around the swimming pool wherever I need them to be. I can even add some step lights to my steps of my deck here. And zoom in. Once I've added all my fixtures, I can then proceed to my wiring diagram. I'm going to find a location for my transformer. I'm going to place it here on the outside of my shed, at the back here. I can then proceed to wiring diagram. Now DynaSCAPE has a unique voltage drop calculator that helps you calculate the size of the cable, the allowable length of cable based on the wattage that's on each line, so you can accurately design your wiring diagram for your lighting system. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my layers and choose my light run layers. I'm going to start drawing my light runs from my transformer to all my fixtures. And I'm going to basically go from my transformer to these fixtures here, and I'm going to see, based on my calculations, how far I can go. So I'm going to basically bring it all the way over to here. Then I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm going to calculate the voltage drop that I have on that line. Now I first need to know wattage on my cable, so of all my fixtures, and I also need to know the length of my cable. So I'm going to first measure my length of my cable, 77 feet. I'm going to add a little bit for going up and down the fixtures, so I'm going to add another, say, 10 feet or so, make that 85 feet. And I've got 7 fixtures on this line here, so I've got 3 path lights at 20 watts each, and I've got 4 up lights at, say, 35 watts. So I've got 140 and 60, that's 200 watts on that cable. So I'm going to open up my calculator. I'm going to put in the wattage on my cable, 200 watts, and the length of my cable is 85 feet. Now if I were to use 8 gauge cable, I could calculate my voltage drop at 0.89. I'm going to bump that up to as high as I can, as small a cable as I can get away with. 0.142 is probably as close as I can get, or whatever's acceptable to you. If you wanted to stick with just 14 gauge, you know that by the voltage drop calculation here that I'm going to have to run 2 lines, shorten the length of the line with the most fixtures on it, and then run single lines, additional lines out for my fixtures that are farther away from my transformer. So I'm going to use this voltage calculator to help me design the wiring diagram for this lighting plan. Once I'm finished with my wiring diagram, I can add a legend to the side. This is all on the exact same plan, the master plan. If I click on the design mode, you'll see that my master plan comes back. If I have to go back to do any revisions to my lighting plan or print out my lighting plan, I click on my lighting mode. Wiring mode actually gives me the wiring as well, so I can print out a plan to show my clients, and I can also print out a plan to show my crews or installers so that they know where the wiring and the fixtures all go.